You can't just breeze past these things that are the cornerstone of the thing that you're building towards. Someone who professes to follow Christ should have zero hesitation in saying, I was wrong. If you're a Christian watching this, the Straightway Apologist, and you feel uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is the beginning of honest inquiry. Bogus conclusion after not even hearing the argument. Your argument can be used against any belief or assertions. It literally can't. If it can, that's a problem with those beliefs. You're starting from a point of bias and end with a bias-filled straw man. Anybody hear an answer to anything that we raised in this episode? Was there any answer in there to anything that I raised in this episode? No, just got here and listening to you for the last few minutes. That's my point. You don't know what's going on, and yet you want to give us this word salad that means nothing. You don't have answers. Shush, be quiet and listen. Or come on the stream and we can actually have a conversation. But the whole episode is about exactly what you just did. Commenting for the sake of commenting without having anything of substance to say. So, anyway, if you've seen this pattern, if you've interacted with people just like this guy, and I know that you have, he's literally just perfect timing. I could not have scripted that better myself. Go ahead, leave a comment. And if you're a Christian watching this, the Straightway Apologist, and you feel uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is the beginning of honest inquiry. So, I want to say to you, peace. Oh, we've got him in here. Hang on, we might have to go into overtime. Hello, sir. You're on the stage. What's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Little hoarse.
All good.
Yeah. I just got here. I was doing something else, and I was about to go offline, but I was kind of just looking through, and I saw you. So I thought I'd come in. I was listening to you for the last few minutes. I just thought I'd put that comment in here. Of course, you're right. I didn't listen to all of your broadcast, just like the last few minutes in based on what you were saying. That's why I typed in my comments. So if you want to ask a question that you said that we've never answered, or me as a Christian can't answer, then of course you're welcome to.
Well, first and foremost, let me give you the utmost respect for actually coming on here to have the discussion. That actually already separates you from 99% of Christian apologetics. So thank you for actually coming on to face the conversation and listen and actually hear what we have to say.
No problem.
We had a few different examples that we went through. The whole episode has been about the absence of answers that we see. And maybe you've seen some of this yourself, is that when interacting with Muslims and Christians, no matter what the topic is, no matter what the question is, Christians are constantly diverting away from it. They either accuse something being wrong with the questioner, i.e. you don't have the Holy Spirit, you just can't understand it, carnal mind, blah, 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 blah. Or they jump to something completely unrelated, throwing accusations against Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or whatever else, insulting you, blah, 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 right? So I gave a few examples that I've come across in the past couple of weeks, just being around on different groups. And we'll see, maybe you have an answer. Maybe you can produce something that we haven't heard before. All right, so one of the arguments that I brought, I'll actually go with the one that I...
Can I ask something first?
Sure.
What's your question? Just, what is your belief system, if you have one, just so I know who I'm talking to?
I'm a Muslim.
Okay.
All right. So one that I've been honestly looking for an answer to is the Christian Trilemma.
The
All
Christian
right.
what?
Christian Trilemma. It's a logical inquiry into the doctrinal continuity or lack thereof in the text of the New Testament. All right. So yeah, let me see if I can put this on the screen for you. I don't know how well you can see that, but you know what? Yeah, it's probably not even gonna. I'll just give you the gist of it, right? So basically when you put down the teachings of Paul and Jesus side by side, you see that there's a distinct difference in what you're being told. When you look at what Jesus and the 12 apostles consistently teach in their writings and things that are attributed to them, they teach obedience to God, enduring validity of the commandments, righteousness through action, the Father as the only true God, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have Paul, who's speaking basically with an independent apostleship that's been separated from the 12 by his own admission in Galatians. He introduces a new framework, salvation by faith apart from works, abrogation or outright abolishment of the law, imputed righteousness, and of course, the dramatically elevated Christology. So my observation is that these two systems don't naturally harmonize. And because both can't be true at the same time, if you hold to the Christian view of salvation through faith alone, apart from works, then you end up with only three logical conclusions that can come from that. Either one, the original 12 disciples misunderstood Jesus, which would mean that the very people that he chose and trained and sent out to deliver the message misrepresented his message or misunderstood it completely in their own writings. Number two, Jesus intentionally taught contradictory messages to different people. This would imply that Jesus gave one theology to the disciples and a different theology to Paul, knowing that they couldn't coexist. Or you have option three. Jesus failed to communicate clearly. This would mean that the core teachings, salvation, law, and the nature of God, were unclear even to the very people who were physically present with him. And each option creates different problems for Christian theology. Before we even get into any type of external critique, just internally in the text itself, we have two incompatible doctrines. And so my question is how
sorry,
does a sincere seeker respond to this?
your feed kind of blacked out for a few seconds, so I missed a few words that you said.
Did you hear any of the three conclusions that we're forced into?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so.
Did you hear 1, 2, or 3? Uh-oh.
That's
Oh,
going
wait,
in and
now
out.
you
Is that
blinked
me
out.
or that's going in and out?
Yeah, I think your connection might be.
Okay. Okay, I have a few windows open. If you give me a few seconds, let's see if I can drop some of them.
Yeah,
Is
sure.
that me? Okay. Let me see if I can. This was not happening before. I've been on here for a while. It wasn't happening before, so I'm not sure if that's me or you. But okay, let me see if I can repeat what you said. You said
Yep,
that
go for it.
the teaching of Christ, what he taught the apostles, were different from what Paul was teaching. More or less, that's your conclusion, correct?
The conclusion is there are three of them, the three possible explanations from this conclusion, right? Looking at what Jesus taught, right? If we look at Matthew 7, I'll give you a very clear example, right? Matthew 7. Actually, let's start with Paul. Let's see, which one was it? No, not this one. Which one was that? Oh. Sorry, 1 second. Nope, not that one, not that one. Here we go. So where Paul says, but what does it say? The word is near you. It is in your mouth and in your heart. That is the word of faith we are proclaiming, that if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with your heart you believe and are justified, and with your mouth you confess and are saved. You hold to that position, yes?
Yes.
Okay. And then if we go to Matthew 7, where he talks about the narrow gate, he literally says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, which is exactly what Paul says you need to do, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only he who does the will of my Father in heaven. This is the distinction I'm pointing out. Jesus is teaching you have to actually obey the law. Paul says all you have to do is confess. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and in your name drive out demons and perform many miracles? Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. And the Greek word there for lawlessness is actually something that Paul attributes to himself, anomia, being outside of the law. So that's just to kind of highlight what I mean by they're teaching two different things. And then the three conclusions that we are forced into from that would be, one, either the disciples who are recording these messages from Jesus or reporting them, either they misunderstood Jesus, which would mean that the very people that Jesus trained and chose and sent out into the world were not able to accurately represent his message. Or two, Jesus intentionally taught two different messages to different people. He taught one theology to the disciples, and he taught something completely different to Paul, knowing full well that they could not coexist, right? Because Christians believe this is God. Or three, Jesus failed to communicate clearly, right? This would mean that the very core teachings of salvation and law and the nature of God were unclear even to those who were physically present. Right. And then each option, of course, has its own problems within Christian theology. So my question to Christians is, how should a sincere seeker respond to this distinction or this contradiction?
You have said a lot. We'll get in that little turning wheel, so I'm not sure whose connection is bad, mine or yours. But you have laid out a contrary view of the Christian doctrine. Of course, you've done it well based on your worldview. What I would ask is the time to delve into your conclusions to see if I can help to clear up some misconceptions that you have. I don't think a simple yes or no, or without going into Old Testament theology to the New Testament and see how those two merge and see how you may be misapplying or misunderstanding the doctrine behind all this. So again, I don't know if I'll be able to do an adequate response to your inquiries um, without me delving further into it. So again, if you want to give me the time to, I definitely will.
How
So
much
again,
time do you need? Like I said, if there's something that I have misrepresented when I just read what they wrote in the Bible, then you're more than welcome to point that out. Say, oh, you actually misunderstood this. You're missing this. Whatever context you think I'm missing, feel
yeah.
free to bring it.
Well, you quoted Romans 10, 9, and 10. Excuse me,
Uh-huh.
Romans 10, 9 and 10, right? That if you confess Christ, believe in your heart, God raised him from the dead, that you shall be saved.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does that entail? You said that also that Christ taught not to obey the law, but then you
No, the
also
other way around.
that
Christ taught to obey the law.
but the disciples taught not to obey
No, the
the law, correct?
disciples also taught to obey the law.
Paul did not.
Exactly. He
Okay.
teaches that you don't have to obey the law.
All right. So
He actually teaches that obeying the law removes the benefit of Christ altogether. If you follow the law, Christ is of no benefit to you.
again, that's you're misapplying that reading. What Paul is saying.
Happy to put it up
Paul
on the
is,
screen for you.
are you looking at the at Galatians?
Galatians 5 would be one example. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't want to do this injustice because I guess your listeners would need a more in-depth discussion. I don't know how much time you have, as I said, because I think you were trying to, or you were about to sign off when I came on. So how about this? Just to, again, this is the first time I'm hearing your assertions, so I will back and listen to them, and we'll delve into it when we have more time, because truly I'm hearing your agreements for the first time. And again, I need to kind of flush out everything you're saying so I can give you an adequate answer, because I believe what you're saying is that we as Christians, we never give an answer to the questions you ask. I don't just want to flippantly say something, but no, based on what you've asked me, it's going to be a more detailed Old Testament, New Testament to give you an adequate answer.
Sure. You know what? That's probably fine. I'm willing to take the time today, but if you want to go and come back, no problem there. But I do want to stick to the New Testament, because part of the issue that I'm seeing is that, and this is natural, I think, for most people of any faith, is they take their beliefs and then retroactively apply them to the text, right? If you believe, if you've been taught your entire Christian life that Jesus and Paul are in agreement, then you're going to read Jesus's words through a Pauline filter. And I think that's where a lot of people unintentionally, they kind of sneak in assumptions, and they kind of do a bit of begging the question, where they assume the conclusion that they're trying to prove in their premise, right?
Well, I would also accuse you of the same thing, and here's why. Because you're speaking of the law, which is Old Testament. So if you're saying you want to stick with the New Testament, then you are tying my hands to then go back and look at the purpose of the law in the first place. So what you're accusing me of is what you're also guilty of.
How is that what I just said? Like, what does
Because
the Old Testament have to do with assuming your conclusion in the premise?
because you are saying that we cannot go to the Old Testament, but you're referring to the law and keeping the law.
I'm not
So we
saying you
have to-
can't go to the Old Testament. I'm saying I would like to focus on the New Testament in your response, because what I'm pointing out here, it doesn't matter really what the Old Testament says. I'll
But it
explain
does.
why. I'll explain why. They could be
Can I
talking
explain
about
why it does?
one
Because
second, and I'll let you come back, right? I'm not gonna muzzle you, right? They could be talking about which flavor ice cream is best, right? It doesn't matter what they're talking about to my contention. My contention is that what they're saying isn't compatible. Now, you can go back to the Old Testament to refer to things if you really feel like you need to. I'm not saying that. No, I'm just saying I want the main focus to be on the New Testament, because that's where the contention is. And I one of the things that I've noticed in the absence of answers is that sometimes what you end up getting is essentially a word salad, where you have a lot of words, that are presented in a way to sound good, but when you delve into it, it's not much substance. And so I want to avoid extra things right now to just focus on the contention between this thing and its negation, faith without works, follow the law, and reconciling that and understanding why these two messages don't line up. And if there's a fourth option, to my 3 options, I'm more than happy to hear it. But like I said, I'm not trying to tie your hands. I'm just trying to focus on the issue rather than bringing a bunch of other things that I then have to go into and kind of separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. But go ahead.
And that's why I was saying to you, in order to give you an answer to your questions, you are referring to maybe differences in your perspective from Paul and the other disciples in Christ. So what I need to do is to lay the foundation of the law and its purposes, and how, by your assertions, you're saying that they're teaching different things. And to first of all, lay that foundation for you to see what the purpose is, and then to see how Paul, Christ, and maybe the other apostles may have interpreted in your estimation differently. But I need to lay that foundation for you so that you can see that, no, it's not different. It is how it's applied.
Are you going to tell me that the purpose of the law is to show us that we need a savior?
Again, that is, if you will, my burden of proof. Right. So again, if you will allow me that, because you're simply saying it's almost like let's say the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution. It is written, and these are the bylaws, and it cannot be changed. It cannot be revised unless you go through a process and so forth and so on. I'm trying to lay the foundation of why the law came in, and the purpose for the law, and how, again, in the New Testament, it is different from how it was applied in the Old Testament. So to adequately answer your question, I need to lay that foundation for you and your listeners.
I didn't hear an answer to what I asked, though. Are you going to
But I
say
did.
that the purpose of the law is to show us that we need a savior?
Again, that's not a yes or no answer.
It kind of is, because I'm just asking if that's what you're going to or tell me when you say you need to lay the foundation of what the purpose of the law is. Is that what you're going to show me?
Yeah,
It's either
more or
is or
less,
it's
yes.
not.
Yes, more or less, yes. That the purpose of the law is to show us how
Okay,
decrepit we are.
then we can skip it, because, like you see, I already know. I've already heard
No,
it.
but say again, you are tying, you are in essence then tying my hands to lay a foundation, because you do have a foundation for why you believe the way you do, but you will not allow me to lay a foundation to refute.
No,
Or not really to refute, but then to build upon my assertions of why I believe the way I believe.
I'm
You
not
have
saying you can't
yours.
have a foundation. I'm saying I'm familiar with your foundation. You
No, you're
believe
not.
that the purpose of the law is to show us that we need a savior.
The purpose, okay, I'll phrase it I'm sorry, I'll phrase it my way. The purpose of the
Sure.
law is to show us how decrepit we are, that we cannot be right and just in God's sight. That is the purpose of the law.
Yeah, okay, sure. I agree that that's what your position is. Like I said, I'm familiar with it.
Okay. All right. So that if you are, maybe your listeners are not. And
Oh,
for
no, we've
them
talked
to,
about it on this channel, like I'm been my co-host is usually here with me, and he comes from a Christian background. He's not Muslim, he's not Christian, he's kind of
that's fine.
nothing. We've talked about this
That's
like very
fine.
extensively.
That is fine. But do not forget, my friend, that this is not simply for you and your co-hosts. It's also for those on the World Wide Web who will also see, listen, this, and maybe learn
Yeah,
and
no,
take lessons from it.
I'm granting
So,
you that. I'm saying that
for
I've got it
us to,
recorded on my
for
channel.
me
We
to
talk about it.
brother, I thought we were, I thought you would allow me to speak.
I'm not trying to
For
cut
me
you off.
to,
I'm sorry. I'm just
okay,
speaking as
so
well.
then don't. For me to give a credible answer, what I'm saying is I need to lay my foundation so that you, your co-host, and those who will listen in the future will get a complete answer, because that's what you are accusing us as believers, that we never give you a complete answer. So I am endeavoring to do that, but don't tie my hands. Let me lay the foundation for my answers. You may accept it, you may reject it, but believe me, I will give you an answer.
We just went over your foundation.
But I did not go over my foundation. You went, oh, did you speak with me?
Hmm?
Did you speak with me to know what my foundation is?
You literally just said it, not 90 seconds ago.
Oh, okay. So
Did you not? Because
So
I said it, and then you said you wanted to say it in your own words, and I allowed you to do that.
yes, me saying it and showing you biblical proof of why I say it is totally different, my friend.
Yes,
Because
but my
that's
thing
what
is
you're
that
asking
is a
for, isn't it?
completely different conversation. Like going into, because I could completely refute that entire foundation itself. I'm
Well,
granting it to you though. I'm
no,
granting it
no,
to you so that we
I
can
don't
get
want you
to
to,
an
but
answer.
I want you and your listeners to look at the text, the proof that I have, then say yes, no, it is possible, or it is not. You're asking for answers. My answers come from my source. So I'm asking you to allow me to use my source. You may know where I'm going, but you don't know the path on which I'll take to get there. That's what I'm asking you to do.
Okay, so can we look at Deuteronomy 6?
Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one.
Yep, yep, yep. So you want to read this or you want me to?
Go ahead. You can read it.
It says, "And the Lord commanded us to observe all these statutes and to fear the Lord our God, that we may always be prosperous and preserved, as we are to this day. And if we are careful to observe every one of these commandments before the Lord our God, as he has commanded us, then that will be our righteousness."
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Did Israel ever keep those commandments? How many times? How many times were they defeated? How many times were they captured? How many times were they exiled? How many times were they uh, held in subjugation? Because again, this is saying if, right?
Uh-huh.
If you keep, okay, the Lord commanded us to observe all these statutes and fear the Lord our God, that we may always be prosperous and preserved. Were they prosperous and preserved? No. As we are today, maybe in that particular time they were. And if we are careful to observe every one of these commandments before the Lord, he has commanded us, then will be our righteousness. But did they ever keep these? If you look at the history of Israel, my friend, they have never kept them. Even while Moses was on the mountaintop getting these commandments, what were they doing at the base of the mountain? They're making an idol of gold, a golden calf. So you
And
see
so if
how
they make a mistake, if they break one of these commandments, it's too late. It's
you're
over
not
and
allowing
done.
me. You're not allowing me to finish
I'm
my
just
statement.
asking a clarifying question before you go
No, but
further into it.
can I? Okay, I'll answer that. But once I finish my statement is that yes, that the laws of God are perfect and they are prosperous for anyone if you are able to keep them. From the inception of the law, the Israelites have never kept. They have broken time and time again. God would punish them. He would relent, bring them back. They would again turn away from Him over time. The last 4,000 years, if you will, they have never kept the commandments. The commandments are perfect. They are just, they are right, they're pleasing, but we as human beings have never been able to keep them. So you're asking a question or you're putting something on the screen that is totally true, but there is a clause to it, verse 25. If we are careful to observe every one of these commandments, then we will be prosperous or righteous in God's sight. They were never prosperous or righteous. There were periods of time, like during the time of David, let's say, and Solomon. But then after that, they went downhill, my friend, downhill. They attempted to keep God's laws, but since the laws are perfect, they're not able to keep God's laws.
Okay, what can I call you? What do you want me to call you?
You can call me B man.
B man. Okay, there has to be a little bit more back and forth. There's a little too much monologue. All
I
right.
would say the same to you, my friend. Yeah, I would
That's
say
perfect.
the
That's
exact same
perfectly
thing to
fine.
you.
That's perfectly fine. I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm just suggesting as we go forward, we have a little bit more back and forth and not just monologue. Okay.
Understood.
Now, if there's something that
this
you
does
do
apply
need
both ways.
to,
This does apply
yeah,
both ways, correct?
absolutely,
Okay, all right, cool,
absolutely,
cool.
absolutely. I'm not going to intentionally cut you off and just to silence you, but there has to be points where I can interject. And like I said,
Same here.
that
Same
goes
here.
back.
I
That
hope.
goes both ways.
Okay, appreciate that.
Okay. So I asked the question because you kind of started repeating yourself there a little bit. And I was asking a clarifying question that
Okay,
you
go
did
ahead.
not answer, even though you said you would. Right? I want to know if someone breaks one of the commandments, what do you do then? Does that mean that now this no longer applies?
No, no. There was a sacrificial system in place that if you broke a commandment, then you would do these things to receive forgiveness and grace from God.
Those are unintentional sins, though.
If certain sins that this is for if for example, David committed murder and adultery, so that was not an unintentional sin.
Unintentional sin doesn't mean that you actually did it unknowingly. It means that you did it due to a human weakness, right? You got angry and you did something wrong. That's still an unintentional sin.
No, that's
Intentional
sorry.
sin is when you in your mind completely disregard God's commandments and say, I know God commanded not to do this. I don't care. It's a switch in the heart.
No, that's how you would define it as a Muslim. That's
No,
not how
I'll bring it
Christian.
up from the Bible for you. I'm not making this up. This is biblical. I don't do
Okay,
that.
so again, that's not God's criteria for sin. Sin is anything against the word, the nature or character of God. So if God says something and you do it even unintentionally, for example, before the law came into existence, right? Did Cain commit murder? There was no law that says thou shalt not murder, right? But did Cain kill his brother? Did he commit murder? Of course he did. But there was no law to say that thou shalt not murder. So I don't see
Well,
how you
that's an argument from silence, but that's not really
it's not
relevant
silence,
to
brother.
it is because you're saying since we don't have the law that was given to Cain, then no law existed. That's an argument from silence.
No,
Um,
I'm giving you an example from scripture.
yes, but it's based
It's
in an
not from
argument. The
silence.
scriptures say that Cain had no law.
Yeah, the scripture says that from Cain from let me see if I get this right. From Adam to Moses, there was no law, right? But does
From
that
Adam
mean
to that's not true even from the Bible. There's the Noahide laws, the 7 laws of Noah.
uh, again? Let me see if I can pull up scripture for you.
Noah predates
This is
Moses.
in. I'm sorry. Both you're right. It's Moses. From Adam to Moses, there was no law. I did misspeak by saying Noah. So from
No.
Adam
You
to
said
Moses, there was no
Moses.
law.
Noah predates Moses, and there are 7 Noahide laws.
Right, but the laws that we're speaking of is the Mosaic law, but these are the laws by which
Well, yes, of course there was
the
no
Jew.
Mosaic law before Moses. We know that. My point is that doesn't mean there were no laws, period. But it's irrelevant
There
because we're
was
talking about the Mosaic laws, and
It's
that's where
very
I want to
relevant.
focus.
It was very relevant. Why? Because the lawgiver is God. It's not Noah. It's the lawgiver is God. It's
Do you
God who
remember what
says
we were
what is
talking
right
about?
or what's wrong. We're speaking of the law, correct?
No, we're talking about unintentional versus intentional sin.
But again, it's the law that tells you what sin is, isn't it?
That's fine, but we're not talking about what is a sin. We're talking about what is unintentional versus what is intentional. Is you
That's
disagree with
why
my definition of it. I'm telling you it's in the
that's
Bible, and now
why I
you've
was
gone off to
that's
talk
why I was
about,
no, that's why I was
Cain
referencing.
and Abel.
Yes, that's why I was referencing, because you're saying intentional or unintentional. That's why I was referencing
Yeah, let's just look
Cain.
at the text. The text tells you what's unintentional sin and what's intentional sin. We don't need to hypothesize about like with arguments from ignorance.
That's not how. Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so the Bible says here that the Lord said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites to do as follows with one who sins unintentionally against any of the Lord's commandments and does what is forbidden by them." If they do something that's forbidden by them, how is it unintentional if it's your understanding where they just didn't know? This isn't about there was no law given to them. They know it. It was given, it was forbidden, and they did it anyway. If the anointed priest sins, bringing guilt on the people, he must bring to the Lord a young bull without blemish as a sin offering for the sin he has committed. Right? These are unintentional sins. It tells you right here, unintentional.
So would you say that murder is something that's intentional?
It depends on why you murdered the person. Did you get angry and lose control? That's an unintentional sin. Was it a crime of passion? That's an unintentional sin. If you are going out, if you're like a serial killer, that's an intentional sin. You've put the law aside and are intentionally setting out to disobey it.
Can I respond?
Of course.
I believe that's from your Muslim world.
This has nothing to do with this law.
Can I respond?
If you cannot make accusations.
But okay, no, I'm not. It's not an accusation.
It is.
You're reading a, if you will, a Christian Judeo document which you don't believe in, and you're applying your theology to it. Which
there's the accusation right there. You just did it again.
But again, I'm trying to explain to you what this means
from the text.
From the text, but now you're reading into something like murder being unintentional, as opposed to
you asked a question and I answered it.
You said that you wouldn't cut me off, right?
No, I said I wouldn't intentionally do that to silence you. I'm not trying to silence you. I'm just like I said, a natural interjection.
Can I answer?
Answer what? What are you answering?
You're saying that someone can commit murder and it's unintentional, and I'm trying to show you according to the text what an unintentional sin is, but you won't allow me to, because each time I start to say something, you jump in. I'm just trying to see if I can answer or to clear up some of your misunderstanding.
You've been talking uninterrupted for a minute now, and we're talking about me interrupting instead of the text.
Okay, well, I just had to make clear that you weren't going to keep on doing it and give
Let's
me
just make clear what the text says is unintentional and intentional.
Okay, which is what I am about to do. I would not say murder or adultery or theft or something else that's unintentional. Here is what I would say it's unintentional. The word says about a priest that you should not touch anything dead. Now, someone could be walking down the street and touch a dead animal or something like that. That's an unintentional sin. They never intended to do that, but maybe they stumble over it or whatever. The word is now saying if that happens, then of course you need to make these sacrifices to be clean. But you cannot say that someone who murders someone, even in anger, knowing that that is a life they're taking, that only God is the giver and taker of life, but they intentionally, that I don't like that person, I'm angry at that person, whatever, and they go out and kill that person. You're gonna call that unintentional? That's why the world is in the state it's in now. Not to you personally, but the human life can be viewed as, okay, I didn't really mean to do that, when it's not like you blanked out and didn't see that you were shooting or stabbing or doing something to this person that's going to take their life.
This is why I'm interjecting. This is why I'm interjecting, because you're going off and answering things I didn't ask. You started this whole thing by saying what you would say when I explicitly asked for what the text says, right? This isn't about your opinion versus my opinion. You said that I'm reading my views into the text. Let's focus on the text and we'll see whose views are right.
We are speaking about the text. Now, again, the same thing you are accusing me of, because again, you said murder can be unintentional, right?
Because you asked.
And I'm giving you an example of an unintentional sin that I don't think murder doesn't equate to that.
The difference is you asked for that and I gave it to you. I didn't ask you for any of this.
You're in error.
I asked you for the text.
But you are in error. You are in error.
Show me I'm in error from the text.
That's what I just did, because
you did not mention a single verse, not one.
Okay, is that the same verse that you had up before?
Right now we're looking at Leviticus 4, and I've scrolled down a little bit further.
Go back to the verse that you had before, because you said I didn't show you
Which
from that
one? I've
verse.
looked at a bunch of different verses. Which one?
Well, I have no idea. You didn't tell me which passage you were reading from. You're just scrolling, but you didn't
What
tell me
did
which
it
passage.
say?
It said something about if a priest sin, they need to if they
Sure,
do
that's
something
right here.
unintentional, then they need to give a sacrifice.
That's verse 3.
If the anointed priest sin, bring guilt on the people, he must bring to the Lord a young bull without blemish as a sin offering for the sin he has committed. He must bring the bull to the entrance of the tent of meeting for the Lord, lay his hands on the bull's head, and slaughter it for the Lord. Then the anointed, and I can't see the rest. Okay, so if he sins, yeah, this does not say intentionally or not. This says if the anointed priest sins. I believe this was a separate verse, because your assertion was that if he sins unintentionally. This doesn't say that. I believe
No, that's not. This isn't what I just brought up the one you just mentioned. What I was talking about was up here, where it talks about unintentionally. Tell the Israelites to do as follows with one who sins unintentionally against any of the Lord's commandments and does what is forbidden by them. And you asked me to bring up this verse about the anointed priest.
Sorry, no. Go back, because you said I did not answer your question. So I'm trying to get back to your question according to the verse you showed us. Okay.
Okay, well, I'm not looking for an interpretation. I'm looking for the text to actually support what you're saying.
Well, I am trying to show you that your assertion that unintentional sin could be murder as opposed to something else. And these are two categories of people, if you will, between verses 2 and 3. Because verse 3 speaks about an anointed priest, but verse 2 tells the Israelites to do as follows with one who sins unintentionally. So these are two categories. You're trying to merge the two into one. Verse 3 says an anointed priest. Verse 2 says tell the Israelites. So these are two categories of people that you're trying to now have the same criteria for, when this is not speaking of all of Israel. One is Israel, if you will, the common people. The other one is an anointed priest. So there's two different categories of people.
Yeah, I didn't bring up the anointed priest. You did. I was just reading the text.
I'm trying to show you, brother, my friend, I'm trying to show you the error in your theology.
Please do.
Verse 2 is speaking, right? If a person does something unintentionally, you're asking me the question you asked me, if someone sins unintentionally, then did they, I forgot the rest of your question, but that was your question.
Well, right now we're trying to define intentional versus unintentional, because you disagreed with my definition.
And you'll not agree with mine.
Yes, so
you
said you want to show me the error. I'm letting you show me the error. Any verse you want, I'll put it on the screen for you.
I am simply refuting what you're saying, that murder. Now you need to show me where murder can be unintentional, because that was your assertion. I simply disagree with it.
Okay. Let's look at Numbers 15, because this was what I was trying to get into and you interjected, and anyway. So this is again talking about offerings for unintentional sins, right? Now, if you stray unintentionally and do not obey all these commandments that the Lord has spoken, that means you know them, you did not obey them. All that the Lord has commanded you through Moses from the day the Lord gave them and continuing through the generations to come. And if it was done unintentionally, without the knowledge of the congregation, meaning everyone else didn't know about it, then the whole congregation is to prepare one young bull as a burnt offering, a pleasing aroma to the Lord, with its grain offering and drink offering according to the regulation, and one male goat as a sin offering. The priest is to make atonement for the whole congregation of Israel, so that they may be forgiven. For the sin was unintentional, and they have brought to the Lord a food offering and a sin offering. presented before the Lord for their unintentional sin. Then the whole congregation of Israel and the foreigners residing among them will be forgiven, since it happened to all the people unintentionally. Also, if one person sins unintentionally, he is to present a year-old female goat as a sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement before the Lord on behalf of the person who erred by sinning unintentionally. And when atonement has been made for him, he will be forgiven. You shall have the same law for the one who acts in error, whether he is a native-born Israelite or a foreigner residing among you. But, now this is the distinction going to the other side. This would be intentional sin. The person who sins defiantly, whether a native or foreigner, blasphemes the Lord, that person shall be cut off from among his people. He shall certainly be cut off because he has despised the word of the Lord and broken his commandment. His guilt remains on him. So for unintentional sin versus intentional sin, one is being defiant and blasphemes the Lord by despising the word of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You read it, you heard it, you despised it.
Right.
So it's not about you knew better and did wrong. It's about you knew better and did not like what the law said in the first place.
Yeah.
That is what I told you before, and you disagreed with it.
Yep.
So do you see now from the text that I was right and you were wrong?
Nope. Because
Okay.
again, okay, so now I get a chance to explain. Right?
As long as you stick with the
But-
text, sure.
But a person who sins defiantly, whether native born or foreigner, blasphemes the Lord, that person shall be cut off from among his people. What I was trying to tell you before was that Israel, that is the history of Israel. That's why they were cut off from God's promises. Right?
But
That
before
is
you
the
before you
history
go
of-
before you go on this whole
Oh
thing,
my
I'm
gosh.
happy to listen to you. I just want to be sure that we are focused on this question of what
Yes,
intentional versus
intentional,
unintentional
yes,
means.
yes.
Okay, go for it.
Israel intentionally went against God's commandments. Every single one of them. He said, "Thou shalt not murder." He called the what was the sons, Levi and Simeon, sons of blood. Right? All of the commandments that God gave to them, they broke intentionally. That's why they were cut off from God, from His blessing.
It sounds
That's
like
what
you're
the-
putting the cart before the horse. We're trying to
No.
define intentional.
Can you go back to the passage? Go back.
We're on it right
because-
now. But
because
anyone who sins defiantly, whether native born or foreigner, blasphemes the Lord and must be cut off from the people of Israel. I was
Yes,
just about to
and
pull
all-
up the commentary on it. Would you like that or no?
No, can we stick? You're scrolling through passages.
You don't like
and
commentary?
you're asking me to give an answer for it, but you're scrolling through the thing like it's
I'm
a
just
Rolodex.
going down to the commentary.
No,
That's all.
go back to the passage, my friend. That's what we're looking at.
Okay,
The
just one
commentary
second.
is
One
only
second.
someone's opinion. That's only someone's opinion. I want to go back to the text.
What are you about to give me? Your opinion?
Oh my goodness. I know you're asking me a question, but then you are going to the opinions to generate your own answer. You're not really.
It's not my own
asking me
answer,
now.
and
It's-
that's my point. You're accusing me of
That
bringing a
is a
Muslim lens to it,
commentary.
and instead of looking
I'm
at what
asking you
Christians are
to-
saying
I'm
about it, you
asking-
want to avoid that and go back so
No,
that you
I'm
can
telling
avoid
you to
what
go
Christians
back
are
to the
telling you.
passage.
We
I'm
can go
telling you to
back.
go back to the
We can go
passage.
back.
So
We
let's
can go
back to the
back.
passage.
But first, we're
Okay,
going to
so
read
let's
this
go back.
commentary.
I thought you would I thought you would give me an opportunity to respond.
I
You
most
told me
certainly
to
will.
respond to-
I
you
most
told me
certainly
to
will.
respond to the passage. When I start to respond to the passage, now you want to go to a commentary, something that someone may say about the passage. Are you asking someone or are you asking me?
Did a Muslim write this?
I don't care. Or did you ask them or did you ask me?
You don't care?
No, because again, We are having a dialogue here. We are
You
having a dialogue.
accused me of reading this text with a Muslim lens and importing my Muslim views into the text. Did you not?
Yes, of course I did. Because
So I'm showing you Christians supporting my view, and Israelites supporting my view.
My friend, I accuse
to disprove your accusation.
I accuse you, right? Not your commentators. So yes, you respond to me. Now again, I am trying to respond to you, but now you're trying to go to someone else's commentary. No,
someone who's not a Muslim saying the exact same thing that I'm saying. Therefore, my view is not coming from Islam. It's coming from the text.
But it's not coming from me. No. It's not coming. That is someone's opinion. The commentary is someone else's opinion.
Unless they're a Muslim, it refutes your claim that my views are because I'm a Muslim.
No. Again, I can speak to you and listen to what you say, and based on what you say, I can make comments about what you say.
If you want to make comments, you need to be able to deal with the refutation. Okay? You can't be somebody who throws a stone and then hides their hand. You made the accusation. The chickens are coming home to roost. You've been more or less intellectually honest so far. So let's look and let's see if what I said comes from Muslims or if it comes from the very people who have spent their life studying this book.
I am more interested in what the text has to say.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. And before we go back there, we're going to read through some of these comments. The defiant sinner, defined by the study Bible. This refers to an individual who sins with a high hand, meaning they do so intentionally and with arrogance, showing contempt for God's commandments, just like I said.
Like Israel did, right? Just like Israel did.
That's right? Like I said, you're putting the cart before the horse. We were having a dispute about what unintentional and intentional meant, and you said my definition was wrong and came from me projecting my Muslim opinion on the text, and you've just been refuted by the study Bible.
And I'm showing you why.
You're not showing me why. You're showing me that you can't accept when you're wrong, which is not a good look.
Here is how I'm showing you why.
You should be intellectually honest and say, you know what? You're right. Your view is a valid view held by other Christian scholars, but I disagree with it.
It doesn't matter that it's a Christian who wrote it.
That would be an intellectually honest way of approaching this.
What I'm saying to you is I'm giving you the commentary, the same way you're giving me.
You're not giving me anybody's commentary except yours.
Examples. You're reading it. I'm saying just like Israel, right? That's what Israel did.
The only commentary you're giving me is yours, right or wrong?
No, I'm giving you an example of what you're doing.
Are you giving me anyone's commentary besides your own?
You're not allowing me to give you mine. You're reading someone else's.
I'm just asking you a question. It's either yes or it's no.
You will not allow me to give you my commentary. You're reading someone else's.
That's what I asked you. Are you giving me anyone's commentary except your own?
Are you listening to my commentary, or are you reading someone else?
Did you just answer my question with a question?
Of course, because you're not being intellectual honest.
Yes or no? Are you giving me anyone else's commentary except your own?
Are you going to listen to my commentary?
You either are or you're not.
Are you going to listen to my commentary?
I can't engage with you if you're not going to be honest with me. I'm asking you a point blank question, and you can't give me a yes or a no. The title of this stream is The Absence of Answers, and you're demonstrating that right now live.
I'm asking you.
I'm asking you a point blank question, and you can't answer it.
I'm giving. See, this leads now into your bias, because you're asking me if I'm going to give you a yes or no answer to a
yes or no question. Are you giving me anyone's commentary except your own?
You're not allowing me to give my commentary. Will you allow me to? If
you answer this question, I will let you give your commentary. Answer the question.
And the question is, am I going to listen to other people's commentary?
No. You see, you're not even listening to the question. This is what I'm getting upset about. The question is, are you, B-Man, giving me anyone's commentary except your own? Yes or no?
No, I'm going to give you a biblical explanation, not someone else's.
Are you giving me anyone's commentary except your own?
Bibles? Yes.
You're giving me the Bible's commentary.
Yes.
That means that every word out of your mouth I can read in the Bible.
What you are reading now is someone else's commentary.
No. Answer the question. Every word out of your mouth will be something I can read from the Bible. Yes or no?
It cannot be that simple.
You said it's the Bible's commentary. We're not going to take the meaning away from words and just give word salad. That's literally what we're critiquing here, is the inability to give a direct answer.
Because you're not being intellectually honest. Because
you won't say that the commentary is yours, and you're saying I won't be intellectually honest.
Yes, because,
just stand on business. Yes, I be man and giving my own commentary. That's all you have to say.
Listen, my friend. If I say because you, that those words may not be in the Bible. So you're asking me if every single word I say will be of the Bible. Of course not. But what I have to say is biblical based. That's what I'm saying. You're saying to me and your audience that every single word I say must be from while God is just.
In order for you to say it's biblical commentary from the Bible, yes, what you say needs to come from the Bible.
I can go to a passage the same way you just went to a commentary based on a passage. My commentary will be based on a passage.
As long as we can clarify and agree that it's your commentary, not the Bible's.
The commentary is going to come from the Bible the same way you just read a commentary from the Bible.
This commentary didn't come from the Bible. This is this is literally a study Bible written by probably Ellicott.
I don't care who wrote it.
That's whose commentary it is. That matters. That matters. When you give your commentary, you say, this is my commentary. That's what they do.
Right. Okay, so this is, as I said before, it's going to be my commentary based on a passage.
Based on whatever. The point is, it's your commentary.
Okay.
And I asked, are you going to give me anyone's commentary besides your own? And your answer was, yes, the Bible's. You see how that's disingenuous?
Okay, then to make things clear, clearer, then I will give you my commentary based on a biblical passage. I think I've said.
Of course, your commentary is based on the passage. That's what the commentary is on, is the passage.
So then
That's redundant. The question was whether you were going to use anyone's commentary besides your own, because your objection is that I'm going to commentary, when really you just want me to leave their commentary and focus on your commentary, right or wrong?
Because we are having it. You're speaking to me. You're reading someone else's conclusion based on what this may be saying.
Because you accused my interpretation of being Islamic, of being something I was forcing into the text because I'm a Muslim. And I'm showing you I didn't get this from Islam. Islam didn't tell me this. Your Bible commentaries told me this.
Look, man. Anybody can read. I can read a commentary based on Islam and tell you that's what they said. Doesn't mean that commentary is correct. That's what you're doing. You are getting your conclusion.
I didn't say that it's correct because they said it. I said I didn't come up with it. It didn't come from Islam. And you can't admit that you were wrong.
I disagreed with you. In the very first. That's why I disagreed with.
Am I on drugs? Did somebody spike me?
Yes, I think so. I believe so, because you're not understanding what I'm saying.
Because you aren't making any sense. You're contradicting yourself left and right.
My friend, you're coming to.
Did my view come from Islam or did it come from these commentaries?
I finished my thought. It came from.
Did my view come from Islam or did it come from these commentaries?
It came from your belief system. It came from Islam, because again, you are a Muslim.
Then we're going to read these commentaries.
Oh my goodness! It came from your mind, because again,
Then we're going to read these commentaries,
all right,
so that everyone can see how dishonest Christian apologists are.
Go for it.
Ellicott's commentary for English readers. That doeth aught presumptuously, literally with a high hand, reproacheth the Lord, rather blasphemeth. Pulpit commentary. The soul that doeth presumptuously, literally with the high hand, i.e., defiantly. A similar phrase is used of God himself in Exodus 13:9. The same reproacheth the Lord, revileth. In the Septuagint, in Ezekiel 20:27, it is translated as blasphemeth. Perhaps affronteth would be better. He that deliberately broke the commandment of the Lord avowed him, or avowed himself his open enemy, and as it were, challenged him to single combat. He is cut off. These commentaries tell you the exact same thing I told you. Do you know why they tell you the exact same thing I told you? Because that's where I got it from. Not from the Quran, not from Islam, not made up in my own head. I read the sources and I let them speak for themselves. Just because you disagree with me does not mean that I got it from Islam. I would think that you would have more integrity to be able to acknowledge when you make a mistake.
Can I answer now?
Are you going to continue the same nonsense, or are you going to say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't choose this hill to die on?
Can I answer? Or are you going to continue to filibuster?
I'm filibustering by reading the things that refute you.
Can I respond?
You're responding right now. It's your decision what you're going to waste that time on.
Okay. All right. So here's why I say that you're put your Islamic bias in, because you are reading words, and what you're saying now is you are attributing now the worst interpretation into this. What I've been showing you all along is that all of these sins, if you will, right? These intentional sins have been committed by who? Israel.
You're already using the term that you can't agree on a definition to. There's no point in talking about whether Israel did it intentionally or unintentionally if you don't know what intentionally and unintentionally means.
Why do you keep cutting me off?
Because you keep trying to escape and go off on other things.
And
what is the definition of intentional and unintentional sin?
You have just read it. I'm trying to show how your
Did that definition come from Islam, or did it come from the commentaries?
Show you how your Islamic bias comes into how you interpret the passage. You're not allowing me to. You are filibustering.
You're not. You're going off to what Israel did. We haven't gotten that far yet. You're talking about something that is irrelevant to the definition.
My friend, are you going to allow me to at least?
If you stay on topic, yes, I will allow you and I will listen. When you deviate from the topic and go to other things, I'm going to call you back.
We're speaking about what? We're speaking about unintentional sins, correct?
The definition of unintentional sins.
Right. Is that when someone breaks God's laws without knowing it, right?
Wrong. We just read it. We just read it.
That's unintentional sin.
Unintentional is not knowing it. Unintentional is not doing it defiantly with a high hand, challenging God. We just read it.
Also not knowing.
That's a completely different thing from a Judaic perspective. If you want to go into what that is, when you don't even know what the law is, you aren't held accountable for it.
Oh, my friend, you are still breathing into the text with.
You have yet to demonstrate that once. You just keep asserting it like it's going to change anything.
I'm trying to show you exactly what you're doing, but each time I get into it, you cut me off by saying
you're talking about what Israel did. We're talking about the definition of the word.
And how else can I show you the definition except by example?
Because you're assuming the definition when you go into the example.
I'm showing you the example. I'm not assuming anything. I'm showing you.
You absolutely are. When you go and say that Israel intentionally sinned against God, you are assuming the definition of intentional.
No, I'm showing
Otherwise, that sentence is meaningless.
I am showing you the example. You are given, if you will, a scholarly definition of it, to say sin is this or unintentional is this. And I'm saying, okay, yes, you're correct in that, but here is the example of what was done to be.
Whoa, wait, run that back. Run that back. What did you just say?
I said, you are given a scholarly definition of what is intentional or unintentional. What I'm doing is I'm showing you exactly what that is.
No, I missed the part where you said I was right. Say that part again. You said I'm giving a scholarly example.
I think I've said that twice now.
And in that,
I think I've said that twice now.
I
said that you're given a scholarly definition of it, and I am trying to show you.
No. You're getting ahead of it again. And in that,
okay, go back and replay it, because you're asking me now to repeat something that I
don't
said.
worry. Don't worry. We will definitely be replaying that. Don't worry.
So you are given again a scholarly definition of it. Well, what I'm trying to show you is the actual, if you will, the application of it. But you won't allow me to.
Because the application comes after the term is defined. You disagreed with my definition. You can't disagree with my definition and then go on to show me an application of the word without giving a definition.
You are putting your Islamic definition.
My Islamic definition? We're back on that again? I thought you just said it was scholarly. Run that back.
I am showing you the example. You are given, if you will, a scholarly definition of it, to say sin is this or unintentional is this. And I'm saying, okay, yes, you're correct in that.
Is it scholarly or is it Islamic? Which one is it?
Twist to it.
No. Is it scholarly or is it Islamic?
You may have the correct definition, but you're putting Islamic.
MashaAllah, I have the correct definition.
So now let's look now at the examples of that intentional versus unintentional. Okay.
All of this just to get a concession. This is not a good look. This is not a good look.
I've been trying to get.
No. You've been trying to avoid for the longest admitting that you were wrong. That should be no problem for a Christian. Someone who professes to follow Christ should have zero hesitation in saying, I was wrong.
Twist on it.
You keep going back to the Islamic twist. You're double speaking back and forth. It's an Islamic twist. It's the scholarly definition.
Again, let's get back to the actual text itself, because we have gone down this rabbit hole. That's your fault. The only reason we're down this rabbit hole is because you started laying accusations that you could not back up. And then when you're shown you're wrong, you take 20 minutes to admit that I was right. Oh, my friend, you are so far down this.
Here we go. The absence of answers. What did I tell y'all? Here it comes. Go ahead.
You allow me to even
go ahead.
It's a question.
Go ahead. We already went over this earlier in the episode. You're just about to give us another example.
Every time I get to a point where I need to give you an answer, because we jump from Deuteronomy over to, I'm not sure where you went to next. And then I'm trying to give you my commentary. Then you want to read someone else's commentary. You're asking me, well, is that my commentary or is it someone else's commentary?
No, not is it yours or is it someone else's? The question was, do you have anyone else's? Are you going to give anyone else's besides your own?
Okay, and I told you I will give you mine based on the biblical passage.
Based upon the biblical passage is redundant.
So
all of the commentaries on this verse are based on this verse. We already know that.
Can I give you mine instead of you using someone else's word, using your
Now that you've admitted that you were wrong and I was right, yes, you can give me your commentary on the verse.
Go back to the verse then. Go back to the verse. Because I'm not even sure which verse we're on. Because again, I not even want to listen.
No problem. No problem.
Yes, let's go back to the verse.
Finally. Here you go.
Finally.
There you go.
All right. So the person who sins defiantly, whether a native or foreigner, blasphemes the Lord, that person shall be cut off from among his people. Now, the example of this of the person who does it defiantly is Israel. Israel had, they were the only people that God gave his laws to, his commandments. And he told them, okay, here are my precepts for you. If you obey them, there are blessings. If you don't obey them, there are consequences to it. How we all came to here was where you're saying between Paul, Christ, and the disciples, that they had a different understanding or application of the law. So I said, okay, let's look at the Old Testament to see what was the purpose of the law and why Israel could not, or they did not keep the law. You asked me a question to the substance of, I forgot exactly how you phrased it, but anyway, I it's been so long, I forgot your question. My contention was this, that according to this, that the person or the people who be cut off from God's laws would be anyone who breaks it intentionally or unintentionally. Okay, this is saying that there are consequences to it, but for a person who does it unintentionally, there is if you will, a sacrificial system that was set up for them to be restored. Even for someone, well, that was for the priest. There's a difference between the priest and the people, if you will. Priest does certain things. There are certain things that he has to do that the people could not do because the priest had to make atonement for the people. So here we're speaking about a person who blasphemes, they shall be cut off. A person who does something, be it native born or foreign, they shall be cut off. So there are certain, let's say, punishment that is irrevocable if someone does it intentionally, especially
So
if they.
just to make sure I'm understanding you and that I'm on the same page with you, you're saying Israel intentionally sinned and so they are cut off.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
But it does not mean that God cannot give them grace, because again, God
Give them grace how?
But okay, that's what the sacrificial system was all about. If you
No.
this,
We just established the sacrificial
and I
system was
finished my
for
thought.
unintentional sin. Wait, no, because you're contradicting yourself. If the sacrificial system is for unintentional sin, then that does not apply here because this is intentional sin, which you just said that means they're cut off. So no more sacrifices under the sacrificial system can redeem their intentional sins.
Except for you look at the history of Israel, where they would sin against God intentionally. Yet God would say, okay, I relent. I placed you
How?
in punishment. What do you mean, how?
How does he forgive them without a sacrifice?
That's okay. This is where I think you will not fully comprehend. The whole sacrifice now is Christ, not so much bulls and rams.
Sorry, say that one more time.
The sacrifice is Jesus Christ.
Okay, so how did they get forgiven before Jesus was sacrificed?
The same way they were forgiven before the law. Okay, because again, the law did not come into existence until Moses.
Again, that's irrelevant and an argument from silence. Just answer directly. How were they given or forgiven
grace,
if
friend.
Jesus had not yet been sacrificed? You said Jesus is a sacrifice that pays for their sins, yes?
Yes. But okay.
He hadn't been sacrificed yet. So how did they get forgiven?
Look, but by faith in what is to come.
They had faith that Jesus would come and be sacrificed?
Asking questions and not giving me a chance to fully flush out what I'm saying.
Because you're trying to breeze past these things. I'm slowing you down intentionally because I don't want anything to try and get swept up in the word salad.
Set up your straw man. Allow me to answer my question.
I'm not straw manning anything. I'm asking questions. I can't straw man by asking a question.
Let me finish my statement, and then you can ask a question, because you're
no, because you monologue for too long. We need to get these things as they're coming out. You made a claim. I'm just asking for a clarification.
Based on half a thought.
We agreed that we would not monologue and that we would have a little bit more back and forth.
But you have not been doing that. You have been monologue. You've given me maybe a minute or two to really speak, but as soon as I start to say something, a minute or two is a monologue.
A monologue.
You spoke for 10 minutes, bro. You spoke for 10 minutes.
Only because you
I
forced
know
it.
what
You forced it by making
Give
accusations you could
me
not back up. But
time.
let's not get back caught up on that
Give me
again.
equal time. Give me equal time. That's what I'm saying.
It's
Don't
not
jump in
about
on
equal
every word.
time. It's about answering
Ask a
questions
lot of
when they're
questions.
presented.
Okay, look. You ask a question, I begin to answer. You ask another question, I begin to answer. You ask. So now we're 3 questions in, and I've not even asked my first one yet.
Because you keep look, just be honest with me. Just be honest with me. If you ask me
Be consistent,
what
my
it
friend.
just one second,
You be
1 second.
consistent.
All right.
No. You ask.
I'm
Okay, look.
trying to be charitable.
I
Just
begin to
wait one
you
second.
ask. No,
Can you wait
not
1
this
second
time.
and listen to me?
At this time. You ask me a question.
I
Begin to
need I
answer
need you to
based
wait
on that.
and be
And
patient.
based
So
on that,
show some of
based
that
on my
Christ-like
answer, you begin
love
to ask another
and just
question.
be
Then I
quiet
begin
for a
to answer
second
that question,
and
and based on
listen.
that, ask another question.
You
So
you're
I'm not even
repeating
answering
yourself.
the
You're
first
literally
question yet.
just saying stuff that
I'm
we've
saying
already
no,
heard.
but I'm trying to state a point. The point
We
that I'm
don't
trying to
need
make,
you to state a
not even
point.
here.
We don't
You're
need you to
not
repeat
giving
the
me
same point again
opportunity
and again.
for a question.
I'm
You
asking
keep asking question.
I'm trying to give you an
Give me an
understanding of where I'm
opportunity
coming
to ask
from.
question
And
number 1.
instead you think you can
Give
overtalk me
me
on
an
my own
No,
platform.
I'm
And it
saying give
just
me
doesn't work. Your
the
mic's not
opportunity
good enough
to
for that.
answer. Give me an
Okay?
opportunity
You
to
might
answer the
as well
question.
just listen. The only person who can hear you is you. All I'm saying is, it's like if you were to ask me how my day went, and I start telling you something, I say, oh, well, first I saw this person getting robbed, and I just breeze right past it and say, and then this dog came up, and you're like, whoa, you saw somebody getting robbed? And I say, well, just let me finish telling you about my day. Like, no, that's something that needs to actually be pulled out and unpacked. All right. You can't just breeze past these things that are the cornerstone of the thing that you're building towards. So when you say that the Israelites were saved by a salvation or by a sacrifice that had not yet happened, yes, I'm going to have questions, and you should have the intellectual integrity to acknowledge that needs unpacking. It's not a matter of, oh, this person you just can't understand. You didn't explain anything, and I'm just trying to get you to it. It's not my fault that you are trying to breeze past these huge cornerstones. They need to be unpacked. How were the Israelites saved by a sacrifice that had not yet happened? You say, oh, the same way that they did before the law. That doesn't tell me anything. Just be direct and tell me, how were they saved without the sacrifice having yet occurred? They had faith of what was yet to come. What was yet to come? Give me a full answer. I will be happy to be quiet and listen if you would just answer fully, instead of breezing past things and trying to mix things up to make it sound good. Give me an actual answer. Nothing?
Is my mic back on?
I never muted you. I just
Oh,
told you your mic wasn't good enough for you to talk over me. I did not mute you.
okay. So the third question that you asked, right, was trying to answer the first question you asked, because again, when I begin to speak on something, you jump in, right? So now you're asking a question 3 questions in when I hadn't even answered the first one yet.
Are you telling me that you can't track what questions I'm asking? Because I'll be happy to repeat them.
No, let's go back to the first one and give me a chance to fully answer the first one based on the
I would
passage.
love nothing more for you to fully answer it, but that doesn't mean
Why
you
did you
talking
cut me?
uninterrupted
Why
for
did
10 minutes. It means you
10
actually
minutes?
answering.
I say 2 or 3 words. I say 2 or 3 words, and you jump in, ask a question. I say 2 or 3
About
more words,
something you
and
just said. I'm not asking a question about something irrelevant to take you off the topic. I'm asking you to unpack what you're saying to me.
okay, let's go back and let's see if we can start over again, because I'm asking you to give me an opportunity to fully answer question number 1, and not jump in to ask a second question that's going to take us off of question number 1. And then we could get to question number 3, you're asking something else that will take off question number 2, when we haven't even addressed number 1. And then you come back and say, well, just answer the question. Give me a yes or no. You see, Christians never answer the question. Why? Because you never give us a chance to.
B-man,
I'm here.
Did you hear any of what I just explained to you? Were you listening, or did you decide to tune me out?
Partially to you because, again, I know that you have to give your monologue, but I'm not going to get an opportunity to really answer.
Okay. Have a good one, B-Man. This is crazy. I don't understand how people can sit up there and expect to have a conversation without hearing anything that you're saying. If I am going to take my time to give you a platform, to give these answers, and when you're trying to answer, you breeze past these huge things that you're trying to build your entire explanation on. And I'm saying, wait, before you go past that, I need you to unpack this. And you're like, well, just let me finish. And then when I point out the need for you to unpack it, you're not even listening to what I'm saying. I just can't. I can't. Respect to the guy, but this is ridiculous. This is what I mean. Like, what he wants is the chance to give you a giant word salad so that everything he says can get lost in the sauce. This is literally the complaint, that you don't have any substance. The Israelites were saved by Jesus, who was not born yet. Okay, and you don't think you need to explain how before you go off on something else that you need that as a foundation for? You don't understand reason. You don't understand logic. You don't understand akal. You're literally just talking for the sake of talking, which is exactly how you got indoctrinated into this nonsense, because you just listened to someone talk and you didn't understand a word they were saying because it didn't make any sense. It just sounded pretty. It doesn't work here. You have to actually have substance, and you have to understand when you're saying something that needs to be unpacked. And when you sit up here and tell me that you're not even listening to what I'm saying, when I'm telling you that you need to slow down, no, your time here is done. I don't have time for you. Literally just another example of why there's an absence of answers, because you don't even know what the conversation is about. It's crazy. Anyway, it's 11 o'clock here. I'm getting off. So before we go, let me just relax and point out once again the pattern that we continuously see from Christians. It's either one or the other. Either we get word salad McGee here, or we get someone who's obsessed with sex who wants to deflect and divert to anything and everything that they can. The wild accusation, that is wild to me. He's sitting there looking at the screen, telling him that he is wrong, and he can't acknowledge it. His own Bible scholars are telling him the Muslim is right. This is our view. And he's saying, no, that's just a Muslim. That's just an Islamic interpretation. You're just presupposing and projecting. Are you slow? Are you drunk? It's mind-boggling. This is what happens when someone's so intellectually molested, to bite from Muhammad Hijab, that their mind no longer functions in the correct way. They don't hear anything you're saying. All they know is their script. And that's why I didn't even want to go into this, because I knew he had no answer. He's like, oh, well, I have to go back to the Old Testament to lay my foundation. I literally told you your foundation, and then you reiterated it. I let you say it in your own words. You agreed. We were on the same page. Oh, but for the benefit of your audience, we just want an answer to the question we asked. But what he wants is to build up an entire sandcastle that with all these intricate little details that he's drawn in. But the minute a wave comes in, it's gone. And that's why there's no point in waiting hours for someone to build up something so flimsy that it can't withstand a single scrutiny. It is mind-blowing. But I said I was going to calm down. I'm sorry. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. My brothers, my sisters, I ask Allah to forgive me and you. I honestly, I've had much better discussions with more honest Christians. If you want to see that, I'll link it in the comments. Some of the conversations I've had with pastors who were intellectually honest enough to acknowledge, and this is the difference between apologetics and someone who actually believes in the text. He's the guy who is just on here is literally doing nothing but trying to preserve his identity. That's all. Because he doesn't know who he is without being a Christian. That's something to work out on your own time, not on my panel. But the other guy, the pastors we've had on here, uh, uh, they have shown that they have the ability to acknowledge when something doesn't make sense and to say, you know what, you are right when you're right, and here's where I disagree, right? And that should be easy for people who profess Christ to do. Christ did not preach insistence upon your own way. He preached humility. He preached love. He preached honesty. But anyway, I'm getting carried away again. All right. So if you have an experience or you had experiences where you ask Christians a direct question and they cannot give you an answer, drop it down in the comments below. Smash that like button, give us a follow, and share this video with somebody who may relate to the absence of answers, or share it with a Christian who thinks they have the answers. We want to hear from you. Where are these answers? Where are they? Because all we see is an absence. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I've stayed on here way too late, and I need to get some sleep. This is crazy. Y'all be easy now. Until next time. Peace.